Seriously, what happened this week? All the optimism we had was crushed with Haaland blanking, and for those who are on triple captain. Congratulations to the free hitters. Let's dive into how the team is looking for game week 14 as the deadline is today. Welcome to my channel, this FPL Game Week, where I, your host, Femi, aka FPL Big Fem, are with you every game week to help you get up the ranks, share strategies and tips, and just try and persist in this crazy game. So in this video, we're going to review our Game Week 13 team. We'll also look at our FPL Green Line fixtures from Game Week 13, including that Man City 3-2 win at home against Leeds. We'll also take a look at how the team is lining up for Game Week 14 and our FPL Green Line fixtures for Game Week 14. And as well, I'll be sharing my top 3 takeaways from Game Week 13, which will be sprinkled through this video. So please look out for those as well. All right, so when we review Game Week 13, I think for both casual players and engaged managers like myself, it was a little bit of a shocker. FPL always throws you curveballs, sometimes when you least expect it. So for those on triple captain, I wasn't on the triple captain, but it happens, blanks are a part of the game. And I keep on telling everyone, if you look at my first video on this channel around, we need other players to support us when our captain doesn't show up. And, obviously those on Haaland triple captain, it didn't happen, but with a quick turnaround, you're bound to have an opportunity to redeem yourself. For those on free hit and who had Dango Otera, Foden, and Gakpo, congratulations. A huge jump for you. And, sometimes the game shakes out like that. There are some close calls with Sade, who I put in my team, versus Dango Otera. And one produced, one didn't. Foden, had the big game, 2 really great finishes. That can happen. And Gakpo, had the late goal that made otherwise 1 assist turn into a haul. So these are the things in FPL we can't control. We just decide on who we put in our team, and the outcomes take care of themselves. But as always, there's another game week, and I think it's so important to just jump right back into it. So let's take a look at our team in our Game Week 13 review. So for the team, let's take a look. We'll be quick here as, we need to have a lot to get through in this video. So ultimately, I finished on 37 points with a red arrow to my overall rank is about 3183. Overall, it could have gone a lot worse. I'm very happy that, some of the picks, while they didn't turn out, it could have been a lot worse for me. So let's take a look at what happened. So Henderson with the 2-pointer at home. I honestly thought Crystal Palace would be able to do a little bit better than they did. I think, they have a lot of the tired legs, and Manchester United had a good away game, taking advantage of that and, winning 2-0. But I'm not going to read too much into it, given these Crystal Palace assets have great fixture in their next fixture, Burnley away. So that will be good for them. And defense, Caliafori with a 0-pointer, slightly disappointing, but I did bring Caliafori in because of this next fixture. So I'm really hoping for a start and see if he can get rolling and get some attacking returns. For Brentford, our Brentford boys did well overall, right? Collins with 22 DEFCONs, which is out crazy, and had the 4-pointer, lost a clean sheet, but it's the Prem. Clean sheets aren't guaranteed for any team. Just scoring 1 goal can happen in a game. And then next we had Munoz with the 1-pointer, as mentioned with Henderson, just not their day. Didn't have the legs and didn't look really like doing much other than a few big chances earlier in the game. And then finally, to round out the defense, I have Diaz that I put in. And Diaz, he had 1 chance in the game or so and didn't come away with anything, but he was always going to be brought in for the next couple of fixtures. So, that's the defense. Let's move on to the midfield. So in the midfield, Rodgers with the 3-pointer, very much a punt. That still remains true. He's trying to find his consistency, but we'll take the 3 points and move on. Saka really did save my week with the assist in the Arsenal versus Chelsea game, which was really hotly contested. Unfortunately, too many yellow cards there really ruined the rhythm for both teams. And ultimately, like, I hate when we have these big games and the yellows just dominate the conversation. I really wanted to see both teams 11 on 11. We weren't able to get that. And I think it would have been a better game for the fan and potentially a better game from an FPL perspective as well. Sade, who I brought in for Mbumo, I had put on X that was a change I was looking to do. I got 2 points, so I can't complain about that. Mbumo is going to go off to AFCON soon, so even with the great fixtures, he may not come back into the team. I do have one free transfer. I could bring him back in, but probably not going to play that way. And then finally, we had Semenyo with the 1-pointer. Oh my goodness, everyone knows he was so unlucky not to get more. And hold on later for the video in terms of captain options. We'll talk about Semenyo there. And then finally, up front, we have the person who just keeps delivering in Thiago. He is firmly in the golden boot race behind Haaland with 11 goals. And he's looking stronger and stronger every week, honestly. So I know that there's still about 75% of managers who don't have him in. If you don't have him in, you should strongly consider getting him in. And then Haaland, right? The man of the hour, the man who broke so many of our hearts with the blank on the triple captainship. For those who captained, also didn't return very well. And so for me, when I look at my team moving forward, I still have triple captain. I still have free hit. And I did want to sort of save both for a rainy day. And with all the fixture congestion, this could be a good opportunity. There's some better options potentially before the first half of the season ends where we can use a chip. Anyone who also has a chip, let me know down in the comments what you're thinking to do. But that is the team and how it performed in game week 13. Now, as you know, this is another feature that we have here regularly on the channel, the FPL Green Line. I'll introduce it again here. Do you know if you go to the Fantasy Premier League website or app, click on Fixture Difficulty Rating, and double-click here, it will sort the fixtures by difficulty, giving you the most favorable fixtures in green, allowing you to organize your approach to the game week? I call this the FPL Green Line, and it'll be one of the ways I analyze my players' fixtures for the game week. So there you go, a cool and useful feature to organize your approach for the game week. How will you use the FPL Green Line this week? Our review of the FPL Green Line fixtures for game week 13, they're all listed here. And so let's start off with the one that we all were watching in terms of Manchester City at home versus Leeds. And here's my first top takeaway for the game week. Manchester City lacks power in midfield because no Rodri, he's still injured, and no KDB. So the ability for them to really, push on and have these scores that we're typically used to them when they play weaker sides, the 3 or 4 or 5 nothings, I think may be limited. There is another counter argument that a lot of the data suggests that, Manchester City is leading in so many categories. Sure, but I'm an eye test manager. I see this team and you look at how Leeds were able to come back in the second half and be strong in the midfield battles. It doesn't seem to me that the City team has that same explosive capability. And so with that, that's why Haaland could be one to back against moving forward. Let me know what you guys think, but that's sort of my initial thoughts when I look at the performances and the team and how, ultimately they got a winner in the 90th minute, right? So if Foden doesn't, be spectacular all game, we're looking at a different result for Manchester City at home, which is quite interesting. The next fixture to take a look at, Liverpool got back on track with a 2-0 win away to West Ham. I reserve my comments about Liverpool in terms of what this means. Let's see if they can go into a run, because I'm sure we're all looking at that amazing fixture run they have and their assets and being like, is it a good time to go on them or not? The last fixture, when we look at how this is organized with Big Six fixtures, first to review Spurs at home to Fulham. So Fulham, they made it a defensive game. They got their goals and then they held on. The thing with Spurs is it looks like they're really devoid of ideas on both a defense and attack right now. And my top 2 takeaway does talk about a team here that's listed that had a really good result with their assets, and how, Thomas Frank, formerly came from this team. I think we all know who I'm talking about, and they're just not being able to get out of the mud right now. So Spurs are definitely a team to look at to see, should I be holding their assets? And I don't think many of them are quite valuable at this point in time. When we look at the other fixtures, we're going to look at Brentford, and this is my second takeaway. The Brentford boys delivered, and Brentford is a team that is doing way better than I thought they were going to do this season. Ultimately, like before the season started, I thought Brentford would be in a relegation battle. Apologies to the Brentford fans, but you guys are much more than that. You're higher than Spurs. You're higher than your ex-manager in Thomas Frank. I don't know if many people predicted that. And your assets in Thiago and your style of football is exciting. Like I think this thing of, FPL and us being interested in the game is one thing, but we also are football fans. We like to watch the games. We like to see attacking football. At least I do. I like to see goals, and Brentford is delivering on those metrics. Yes, a lot of penalties, but that's their style. They're getting the penalties, and those are fully well deserved. And then they are, playing direct football and causing a lot of chaos. So that is really quite interesting and appealing. And now, as they match up with my team Arsenal this week, we'll see, sort of how that match unfolds, and if Brentford is going to use the same style that has gotten them so much success, or they're going to try and be more defensive in that matchup. The other matchup was Aston Villa. Aston Villa with the 1-0 win, nothing special, 1-0 over Wolves. For those who went double Aston Villa defense, congratulations. So that's the review of the Game Week 13 fixtures. Let's jump into how the team is lining up for Game Week 14. Now, I know for Game Week 14, a lot of people are having players with flags. The whole yellow card scenario where, with a player, if they get their 5th yellow, they have to sit for a game. We have Senesi, who's suspended for this game week with a really good fixture, Everton at home. So that's a big bummer for those who went with Senesi. But when I look at my team so far, I have people on, I have Munoz on a 4 cards, but he won't miss this fixture. So I'm in pretty good shape. So let's run through the team real quick and see what we can do, if there's any areas we can optimize as we look at Game Week 14, which is today. So in net, Henderson, Burnley at home, good fixture. He's a lock for me, and he'll be my starter. We have Ballard away to Liverpool at home. So this is the first slot where I'm thinking, should I do anything different here? Liverpool could be on the verge of turning the corner, but we'll wait and see on that. And I have to make sure that there's someone on the bench that I can put in potentially if I don't want to go Ballard here. I have Caliafori at home against Brentford. This is the fixture that I was targeting for Caliafori to come in. So comfortable there. He was subbed at half, I think, because of the yellow card. So hopefully he can be starting in this game and can expect some, attacking returns potentially. Munoz away to Burnley. Great fixture for him. He's a lock. I think he's essential. Let's just move on and look at our last defender. Ruben Diaz away to Fulham. Fulham's a tough place to play. Potentially, maybe I can see DEFCON for Diaz in this game, but I did go with this with Diaz because of the upcoming fixtures and the City fixture run in the short term looking fairly well. Next in the midfield, we have Rodgers away to Brighton. Brighton, play an open game. They've been quite on a good run. Impressive win against Forest 2-0 in this past game week. So maybe not a team to take for granted, but at the same time, Rodgers is a star man. If we expect Villa to score, I do expect him to be involved. So very comfortable holding him. Saka at home to Brentford. The minutes might be an issue here, maybe 60, 70 minutes, because Arsenal does have Villa in the first game of the next game week, which is that, we have 2 game weeks in a week, right? So it's a lot for these players now. So Saka, though, star man on penalties, he'll be in the squad. No issues there. And then we have Semenyo. So Semenyo has the captain armband on him right now, subject to change, but he should have had a haul in his last game. He may be turning the corner in terms of performances. And ultimately, this is one of my third takeaway is Semenyo. He was unlucky not to return, and he could be a really good dark horse pick here. Let me know who you guys are thinking of in terms of potentially going for captain, but I like the floor that he has, right? In the sense that he could potentially get DEFCON points in this game if it's tight. And if he gets a return, you're laughing because, returns have been hard to come by, especially the game week we just went through. So Semenyo has the captain armband on him. And then Szoboszlai at home. So I can take Szoboszlai, who I benched last week, put him into the starting lineup in a fairly good matchup against Sunderland. Sunderland is a strong defensive team, but, I do expect Liverpool at home and at Anfield to, get things going again. So they need to, if you want to rise in this league, you need to do well at home. So there's really no excuses around that. And that should be the focus for Liverpool this week. And then finally, the two up front that we've seen for so much in Thiago away to Arsenal. He's on penalties. He has to stay in the squad, even though Arsenal's a tough matchup. But, the big thing with Arsenal, Saliba's didn't play against Chelsea. So there's concerns there, and the defensive line could potentially get breached. So Thiago has to be there. And then Haaland currently as well in the squad, of course, against Fulham away. And we will see if he gets consideration for the captaincy. He's in my mind, but we're going to leave it there at that. And then on the bench, we have Leno against Manchester City at home. So I think he won't come in because I do think they will concede. And then Collins and Sade, the Brentford boys, away to Arsenal, firmly on the bench. And then DCL, who we always talk so much about DCL. DCL got the goal last week, surprise, surprise, against Man City, and he will be on the bench there as well. So now we can take a look at our Game Week 14 FPL Green Line fixtures. All right, so for our FPL Green Line fixtures, let's start with the big six teams as always, and there's two of them with Liverpool and Manchester United. So let's start with Manchester United. At home to West Ham, great fixture for them. Paqueta will be out of this one, having picked up the two yellows in quick succession. So their West Ham offense, which typically doesn't travel that well, will be in Old Trafford without Paqueta. So ultimately, if you have a Bruno Fernandes, I know a lot of people love Bruno and have him. He's definitely one of the stars in the game, and so he's a really good option this week, as well as Mbeumo before he goes to AFCON in a really favorable matchup. And, the next couple fixtures for United look good. So for me, I had just transferred out Mbeumo and probably won't be going back there. I don't necessarily think the ceiling in terms of how many goals Manchester United will score is a lot. So for me, I'm sort of comfortable where I'm at with the midfielders I have. And, if Bruno gets a big haul, I'll be hiding behind the couch like a lot of us that don't have him. In the next matchup we're going to look at is Liverpool at home against Sunderland. So Sunderland's a strong defensive team. This could be a little bit of a back and forth, but if Liverpool can get their act together, with a 2-0 win over West Ham in the last game week, this could be interesting for their assets moving forward because the fixture run is just so good. And it's the reason why, some free hitters had brought in Salah, in the last game week. Salah, who didn't get on against West Ham. So let's hope there's not more going on behind the scenes there. But for the players that you do have from a Liverpool perspective, they look like a good option to start. And so we'll see how that goes. And hopefully they can, continue on a run of performances for them. So now looking at the rest of the fixtures, the one to highlight is Bournemouth at home to Everton. We have Semenyo in the squad. He's a strong captain option for me this week. He can go big, I think, against this Everton team, especially an Everton team that I don't think travels as well as some other teams in the league. So Bournemouth at home, they want to get a good result. They need to sort of get back into things because I think Areola is an amazing manager. I think he has a squad playing in a fun, fast way that does look for goals and creates a lot of XG. So Semenyo's at the heart of it. So he's a consideration to be the captain in my squad, like mentioned, and I like him in this fixture. And then we have Crystal Palace away to Burnley. Let's see what the Crystal Palace assets can do on the road. Again, they are a team as well that travels well, so let's see how they can do on the road. And against Burnley, there's no real worries of them starting here. And then finally, a little bit weird, both teams have green fixtures with Nottingham Forest green away and then Wolves green against Nottingham Forest. Not sure what to make of that in terms of the FDR. We'll have to look at that. But Wolves have 2 points so far this season. So take for that what you will. Yes, they'll be at home, but I like Nottingham Forest. Until I see a result from Wolves, it's really hard to get behind their assets. I know some people went Nottingham Forest defense last week and weren't rewarded. This could be a good opportunity for them to get on the score sheet and sort of provide what you guys were looking for when you transferred them in. So that's it for the Game Week 14 fixtures. It's a quick turnaround, so good luck to everyone, and we will see you in the next video. So there you have it, my review of the Game Week 13, including the team, as well as the FPL Green Line fixtures, and a look ahead to how the team is lining up for Game Week 14 and the FPL Green Line for Game Week 14. If you did like this video, please check out my first video I ever did on this channel, my top 3 areas for sustained FPL success, as it'll give you, if you're new to FPL or even Engage Manager, some tips and areas that have helped me to rise to top 3K, just outside the top 3K this year thus far. Thanks so much for joining me in this video, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye for now.